Hello, students. How are you all? I hope you are doing well. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about the concept of journal and journalizing and its process, at the same time, the format of journal, along with one problem, that is problem number 13. Problem number 13. The problem number 13, we understood how the transaction is analyzed. Transaction analyzed means what? First, we have to identify how many accounts involved in the transaction. After that, we should identify what is the nature of the transaction, sorry, account involved. After that, we have to recall the debit credit rules of that particular account. Then we classify, okay, cash account debit and capital account credit, furniture account debit and cash account credit. Once we are ready with this analysis, the next immediate step is to record in the journal, to record the same in the journal. Yes, sir, no, students? So, this we understood in problem number 13. And the same concept will apply for n number of transactions. But most of the transactions are repetitive. Here, there are almost some 20-25 transactions. You can learn all these type of transactions, then everything will be repetitive in nature. Now, in the month of December, if you keenly observe here, these transactions happened in the month of December. What happened? Started business. From the next problems onwards, if you get the same transaction, proprietor started business with capital, we record the same entry. But instead of cash, sometimes we use bank account, because sometimes we directly deposit amount into bank so that we start the business. Like that, small changes we get. From next time onwards, suppose if the same transaction is given, that purchase of furniture. Here, furniture purchased for cash. Next time, what you may get? Furniture purchased through check. In that case, what is the entry we record? Furniture account debit to bank account. Suppose if the same furniture is purchased on credit, in that case, what is the entry we record? Furniture account debit to some vendor account. Person who grants credit to us, we write their name. Yes or no, students? So these small changes you need to understand. In accounts now, it is not possible to discuss each and everything in detail. In some places, you need to apply your common sense. Yes or no, students? Because here we practice some hundreds of problems. When it come to exam, you may get slight modified problem. You don't know how to deal with that slight modification, then it becomes difficult, students. That's why don't expect the same copy paste style of problems in the exam. Sometimes they may mix one or two problems and they give you one new problem. They may frame one new problem. This will happen in CA courses. Whatever the problems we solve, exactly you may not get the same problems in the exams. Is it clear, students? Yes. Now come to the next important concept, that is simple entry versus compound entry. So what is the meaning of simple entry? It is nothing but any entry. In an entry, if it contains only one account debit and one account credit, then this type of entry we call it as simple entry. Like in our problem number 13, observe first entry, observe how many accounts you find. Two accounts, one debit, another credit. Next one, furniture account, cash account. One account debit, one account credit. Simple entry. This is called simple entry. Next one, purchase account debit, cash account credit. Simple entry. Next, freight account debit, cash account credit. Simple entry. 10th also, simple entry. 12th date also, simple entry. 14th, 15th, 16th, 30th, 31st. These are called simple entries. Means an entry contains only two accounts, one account debit, one account credit. These type of entries are called simple entry. On the other hand on the other hand, we have another one, that is compound entry. What is the meaning of compound entry, sir? Instead of writing, sometimes what we do is, instead of writing two entries separately, we merge those two entries into one entry. So when do we write the same? Means, get one example. First, look at simple entry. See, example, purchased goods worth 22,000 from Amar. So tell me, is it cash transaction or credit transaction? It is credit transaction. It is credit transaction. So what is the entry we record here? Tell me. The date column, we write the date. So here, what is receiving aspect? Goods. So purchases account debit. You people also write down in the space provided here. Purchases account debit. How much, students? 22,000 to Amar account 22,000. This is simple entry, being goods purchased on credit. Now come to compound entry. Look at, it is an entry in which two or more accounts are debited and one or more account are credited or vice versa. Means what? Okay, first look at this example, then you can understand the concept of compound entry. Goods worth 22,000 were purchased from Amar and paid cash 14,000 and balance on credit. Means total amount of goods purchased 22,000. Total purchases are 22,000. Out of that, 14,000 we have paid cash, and remaining 8,000 rupees on credit. Remaining 8,000 rupees on credit. Normally, how do we record the entry? Look at. Observe carefully. So here actually you have to write two entries, students. One, one purchases account debit, purchases account debit. How much amount we have paid? 14,000. So 14,000, 14,000. Here we write. Second, again we write the entry purchases account to debit. Purchases account to debit. 8,000 balance amount we are paying in 22,000 or anything else. Yeah, 22,000 only, 14,000 paid in cash. Fine. Okay, remaining 8,000 bank. Sorry, credit. To whom amount is payable? Amar. So to Amar account 8,000. Understood? Actually, you have to write the entry like this. Purchases account debit 14,000 to cash account 14,000. Next, purchases account debit 8,000 to Amar account 8,000. Here what we do? We combine these two entries. We combine these two entries now. Instead of writing two entries separately, what we do is we combine the entry. Sir, how to write this combined entry? Very, very important. First one. First, observe debit account. Observe debit. The first entry, debit is purchases. In the second entry also, debit is what? Purchases. Why should we write two entries? That means two accounts. So add these two. So purchases account to debit. Purchases account to debit. Add. First entry, observe debit. Yeah, purchases 14,000. Second entry, observe debit. Purchases 8,000. Add both the amounts. Debit, debit, add. Credit, credit, add. Debit, credit, minus. Yes or no, students? Look at, debit plus debit is equal to 2 debit. Debit plus debit is equal to 2 debit. Add. Credit plus credit is equal to 2 credit. Add. Not 2 CR, 2 credit. Add both the amounts. Debit minus credit is equal to minus. Whatever the excess amount we have, that we assign symbol. Suppose debit is more, plus debit. Credit is more, minus credit amount. Is it clear, students? So here total purchases are 14,000. Total purchases are 14,000. Yes or no? Yes. Now next observe first entry credit. First entry credit. Observe the second one. Do you have the same cash in the second entry? No, sir. So immediately write down to cash. To cash account. How much? Credit is 14,000. Your total is 22,000. Na? Total is 22,000. 22,000. First one, observe debit, debit. Debit purchases, second also debit purchases. Total at 22,000. Now observe credit. Credit side we have cash. In the second entry, we don't have cash to add. That's why write down cash separately. With this first entry completed. Now come to second entry. Second entry, credit what you have, Amar account. So write down directly Amar account. To Amar, 8,000. When you are writing or while you are writing combined entry, be careful that debit is always equal to credit or not. Debit is equal to credit or not, check it. 22,000 debit, credit 22,000. This should happen. Yes or no, students? Yes, sir. This is how we write combined entry. So, what is the benefit of writing combined entries, sir? Instead of writing two entries separately, here we can write one entry enough. Being goods purchased, 14,000 rupees cash and remaining balance amount on credit. Goods purchased for 22,000. Paid 14,000 rupees cash, balance amount on credit. Yes or no, students? And if you observe the last two entries of previous problem, the last two entries of previous problem, observe 30th date we have paid rent, 31st date we have paid salaries. Here also what we can do is, suppose these two are called similar nature of transaction. What it is? Similar nature of transaction means what? Rent, salary is similar nature of transaction. These two transactions are similar but happened on different dates. No? Happened on different dates. Suppose if the same two transactions happened on single day, on a single day means 30th, either 30th December or 31st December, then we can write compound entry. Then we can write compound entry. That means, that means, look at, to record compound entry, to record compound entry, two conditions must satisfy. To record compound entry, two conditions must satisfy. Look at, what is the first condition? What is the first condition, student? Similar nature transaction. Similar nature transaction. Next one, happened on same date. Happened on same date. Same date or same date. Suppose if rent and salaries paid on the same date, then how do we record the entry? Look at. First, observe two entries. Observe debit and credit. Same or different? different, sir. Previously, purchases, same. That's why added. Here, rent, salaries, different, different. That's why what we do is first we write salaries account. First one rent, na? So rent account. Rent account debit. How much? 5,000. Rent account debit 5,000. Next one, salaries account debit. Salaries account debit 2,000. With this debit we have written. Now if you observe credit we have cash and cash. Both are cash account only. If both are cash account, then we can add. Yes or no, students? To cash. 5,000 plus 2,000, 7,000. Now check whether debit is equal to credit or not. Check whether a debit equal to credit or not. Yes, sir. Debit equal to credit. Yes. So like this, we record the compound. Next one, if you observe the same problem, observe eighth date. Observe eighth date. Purchases account debit 1.5 lakh, to cash account 1.5 lakh. Next, we have paid freight for this purchases on the same date. Here also you can write combined entry. How, sir? Simple. Purchase account debit 1.5 lakh, freight account debit 1,000, to cash account 1,51,000. To cash account 1,51,000. So wherever it is possible to write combined entry instead of writing two or three entries, wherever it is possible to write compound entry, it can be written compound entry or combined entry or composite entry, whatever the name you call. Is it clear, students? This is the concept of compound entry. So now finally, how do we write this entry here? So here you can write down what is that? Purchases account to debit. How do we write? Purchases account to debit. How much? 32,000 to cash account 14,000 to summer account 8,000. That's it. This is our simple entry and compound. Other names for compound entry what? Other names for compound entry is combined entry. Combined entry. Yes or no, students? Now come to next important concept, that is banking transactions. This is very, very important. And this concept is very important. Concept helps you to solve the problems of other chapters also. What are those chapters, sir? Cash book chapter. Cash book chapter. At the same time, we have an important chapter called BRS, Bank Reconciliation Statement. Bank Reconciliation Statement. The- For solving these two chapters, problems of these two chapters, this concept helps you a lot. Is it clear, students? So that be careful. Now, see, nowadays everybody is doing banking transactions in the form of UPI. Majority people they are doing UPI. Apart from UPI payment, see, as an individual, we are having two, three accounts in the bank. As an individual, we are having two, three accounts in the bank. Yes or no? Banking transaction. As an individual, we are having accounts in the bank. Why don't the business will have account in the bank? Yes or no? So businesses may also have one or two accounts, three accounts in the bank. Same business may have account in different banks also. Having two or three accounts in the same bank, let us say Okay, this is ABC Limited. Is a company student. ABC Limited means company. What is company? All those things we try to understand later. Now this is ABC Limited. ABC Limited has account in account in SBI Bank. Account in SBI Bank, State Bank of India. It has two accounts. It has two accounts. Account 1, account 2. May have more than two accounts also in the same bank. EI. And it may also have account in Axis Bank also. Account in Axis Bank. The same manner in Axis Bank also they may have more than one account. Account 1. Nowadays there is no restriction on the number of accounts that you can have. Yes or no, students? Yes. Now generally this bank is considered as artificial person. Bank is considered as what? Artificial person. Artificial person. Because their bank is outsider now. Now what we do? Business, we are business, ABC Limited. ABC Limited will ABC Limited enters enters with the bank artificial person some transactions. Or no? So ABC, what are those transactions? ABC Limited will open an account with the SBI Bank. Is one transaction. ABC Limited opened an account with the Axis Bank. Is also one transaction. ABC Limited withdrawn amount from Axis Bank. The transaction. ABC Limited withdrawn amount from SBI Bank. It is also a transaction. ABC Limited transferred amount from SBI Bank to Axis Bank. Is a transaction. And ABC Limited will receive checks from customers. Suppose we sold goods to the customers and we received checks, and these checks are deposited into bank. Is a transaction. At the same time, we are having bank account, so we get some checkbook and we issue these checks to our suppliers. Is a transaction. Sometimes we pay expenses by using checks. It's a transaction. We buy the assets by issuing checks. It's a transaction. There are no students. So business will enter in with bank so many transactions. All these transactions put together, we call it as banking transaction. Now, in case of banking transaction, how the entries are recorded? The entries are recorded. So do remember here SBI and Axis Bank is considered as artificial person. Artificial person means personal account. Artificial person means personal account. Here you should remember the rule. Personal account rule. Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Bank is the receiver, then bank account debit. If bank is a giver, bank account credit. Full fundamental rule. Yes or no, students? So bank account. If you are having only one bank account, na, we use only the word bank account. Suppose if you are having more than one account, na, then only simply we prefix the word at a bank name. At a bank name. Suppose SBI bank account. Next, Axis bank account. Axis bank account. Yes or no, students? If these are receiver, receiver, then debit bank account. Bank is the giver, then credit bank account. Bank is the giver, then credit bank account. So by using this trick, now we solve banking transaction. Is it clear, students? Okay. So I hope you are writing the running notes. Okay. So if you want, you can just pause the video and you can copy it. Fine. Come to the banking transaction. First one. See here I have given analysis and the space left is for writing the content. Look at first one, transaction, accounts involved, nature of account, whether the account is debit or credit. Now entry also here itself we discuss, so that we need not to do separate problems here. Okay, now look at first one. Cash deposited for opening an account means business will give cash to the bank. Here who is the receiver? Bank is the receiver. So bank account. Bank is the receiver. Bank account created. Now what is giving aspect? Cash. We are giving cash. Yes or no, students? Receiving aspect. We are not receiving anything, but bank is receiving our money. So bank account debit. And what is giving aspect? Cash. And what is the nature of account? I said already bank is a artificial person, comes under personal account. Comes under personal account. Yes or no, students? Cash, real account. Cash is always real account. Debit or credit? We call the rule of personal account. Debit. Real account here. Credit. Yes or no? What is the entry we record? Bank account debit to cash account. These are very, very important, students. This is how we record the entry. So whenever you get a transaction that is cash deposited into bank, then what is the entry directly we can write? Bank account debit to cash account. Hope you understood. Next one. Cash withdrawn for office use. For what purpose? Office use. Cash withdrawn means we are receiving cash from bank. What is receiving aspect? Cash. What is receiving aspect? Cash. Is it clear? And who is the giver? Bank is the giver. Who is the giver? Bank is the giver. So bank account. Nature. Cash is real. Bank is personal. Now real account rule. Debit what asset comes in. So debit. Personal account rules. Credit the giver. So credit. What is the entry we record? Cash account to debit. Cash account debit to bank account. Cash account debit to bank account. Is it clear, students? Next one. Cash withdrawn for personal use means first one is for office use. We have withdrawn cash for office use. Office use means for business purpose. Personal use means for owner's personal purpose. So whatever the amount given by the proprietor, owner to the business, we treat it as capital. Whatever the amount withdrawn by the proprietor, we treat it as drawings. So who is the receiver here? Proprietor is the receiver. In the place of proprietor's name, which account we write? Drawings account. Which account we write? Drawings account. Yes or no, students? What is giving aspect? Who is the giver? From business, we are not giving anything. Who is the giver? Bank is the giver. Who is the giver? Bank is the giver. Is it clear, students? Now, drawings account, personal account, representative personal, na? Personal account. Bank also personal account. So here you can make a note. What is that? In a transaction, in a transaction, the accounts affected may be same category, same nature. Means here drawings and bank, same personal accounts. In some transactions, suppose furniture purchased for cash, furniture and cash both are assets, real account category. So in an entry, the accounts affected may be relating to same category. Yes or no, students? Now, personal account rule, debit the receiver, so debit. Credit the giver. So credit. What is the entry we record? Drawings account to debit. Drawings account debit to bank account. Amount column, we write the amount. That's it. Amount is not a big task. Writing entry is very important. Amount you get in the transaction. Na? And the next important one, a check received from a debtor. A check received from a debtor means he received check. What we do, this check is deposited into bank directly, because you know very well, everybody, I think most of the students, almost all students, they have visited to the bank or no. This check can be encashed only in the bank. I received a check. This check can be encashed only in the bank. Yes or no? So whatever the check we receive from debtor, that is first deposited in the bank. Bank will credit amount to our account, then after we can withdraw. Yes or no, students? Yes. Now you people tell me, indirectly or directly, who is the receiver of this amount? Bank. Who is the receiver of this amount? Bank. Who receives amount first? Bank. Even though we received check, that check we deposited into bank, na? That check we deposit into bank. So directly, indirectly, who receives this amount? Bank receives the amount. That's why, who is the receiver here? Bank is the receiver. Who is the receiver? Bank is the receiver. Then who is the giver? Debtor is the giver. Who is giving this check? Debtor. So debtor account. Our customer. Debtor is nothing but our customer. Yes or no? Our customer. Now tell me. Banku personal account plus debtor also personal account. Banku personal account, debtor also personal account. Rule: debit the receiver, credit the giver. So debit, credit. Finally, what is the entry we record? Bank account to debit to debtor account. Bank account to debit to debtor account. Important. Is this clear, students? Next transaction. Next transaction. Observe the next one. Deposited check dishonored. Means this transaction is related to this transaction. We deposited check into bank now. Now what bank will do? Bank will collect the check first. Bank will collect the check. If this check is honored, means bank collects the amount and that amount is deposited into our account. If due to any reason, if check is dishonored, means bank is unable to collect the check. Bank is unable to collect the check. In that case, whatever the entry you have been written in the previously, you have written previously, that entry becomes reverse. Entry becomes reverse. Observe carefully. Simply that entry becomes reverse. Debtor account debit to bank account. That's it. Earlier, at the time of deposit of check, what is the entry we have recorded? Bank account debit to debtor account. Now the same check has been dishonored. That's why previously whatever the entry we have written, that becomes reverse now. Indirectly, we are cancelling that entry. Sir, directly you can write like this, na sir, into mark. No, 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 no. We should not overwrite anything in the books of accounts. It leads to fraud. See, it leads to fraud. That's why. That's why we should not write like this. We should not write like this. Is it clear, students? Cancel any entry in the books. We should record the reversal entry so that the effect gets cancelled. The effect gets cancelled. Hope you understood. Next one. Next important aspect. Payment by check to a creditor. That means we have paid. We have paid amount to creditor. Who is the receiver? Creditor is the receiver. Who is the receiver? Creditor is the receiver. Creditor is the receiver. Yes or no? Who is the giver? We are not giving cash directly. We are giving cash to bank. That means indirectly who is the giver? Bank is the giver. So bank account. Creditor, person. Bank also person. Sir, no. Now creditor, account. Debit or credit? Debit. Because creditor is the receiver. Debit. Bank is the giver. Credit. So entry. Creditor account to debit. Creditor account debit to bank account. Creditor account debit to bank account. Understood this? Next one. The check, the issued check is dishonored. Issued check is dishonored means earlier whatever the check we have issued to the supplier or creditor, the same check gets dishonored. Means whatever means what the bank is unable to collect the amount. It may be some mistake due to any mistake, maybe due to insufficient balance in the account, mismatch of signature, or check validity is over, or any overwriting on the check. Due to any reason, check gets dishonored. In that case, what happens? Earlier, actually we have to pay amount to the creditor. Let us say 10,000. Actually, we have to pay amount to the creditor 10,000. For that amount, we have already issued a check. Have already issued a check so that the liability gets completed, cleared. The liability is cleared. But now what happened? Whatever the check we have given earlier that became dishonor. Now, immediately, whatever the entry earlier we have written that gets cancelled. How do we cancel that entry? Look at reverse. Reverse of previous entry. Bank account debit. Bank account debit to creditor account. Bank account debit to creditor account. Observe students. These two with this. Is it clear, students? If you have any doubt, pause the video, try to observe. If you want, rewind the video, play again. Is it clear? So, I already said this is the first chapter. I will discuss very slowly, very basic. Why? Because the moment you understand the journal entries chapter, then you will not face any difficulty in the next chapters. That's why invest your time in this chapter. Is it clear, students? Now come to the next one. Next transactions, observe. Payment of expense. Suppose I have paid rent. I have to pay rent. This is paid through check. This is paid through check. Or I am paying salaries. Salaries are paid through check. Like this, electricity bill paid. Nowadays, everybody is paying electricity bill through UPI. Yes or no? So that means what? Directly we are paying expense through our bank account. Yes or no, students? So expense account debit now. Expense account debit. So expense account. Concerned expense. Whatever it may be. Rent, electricity, or interest, dividend, whatever it may be. Yes or no expense. Payment na we have paid through bank. So indirectly, who is the giver? Bank is the giver. Directly, who is the giver? Bank is the giver. Now tell me, classify the accounts. Expense nominal account. Expense nominal account. Bank personal account. Bank personal account. Now recall the rules. Nominal account. Debit all expenses and losses. Credit all incomes and gains. So debit here. Credit. Is it clear, students? So entry. Expenses account debit. Expenses account debit to bank account. Expenses account debit to bank account. Yes or no, student? Whatever the expense you pay, that expense name debit to bank. Next one. Next one, bank charges. Bank charged for charges. The bank is providing so many services to us. Bank is providing so many services to us. Yes or no? For the services rendered by bank, bank will charge some nominal amount. Bank will charge some nominal amount. This becomes expense. Yes or no, students? Yes. In that case, what is the entry we record? Simply bank charges. We create bank charges account. Bank charges here. Now, who is paying this amount? Bank is deducting this amount now. From our bank account only the amount gets reduced na. So bank directly who is paying these bank charges? Bank only paying. Bank paying, bank receiving. Okay na? That's it. Now bank charges nominal account. Bank charges nominal account. Bank account personal account. Bank account personal account. Yes or no, students? Yes, sir. Now nominal account rule, debit all expenses and losses. Personal account rule, credit the giver. So what is the entry we write? Bank charges account to debit. Bank charges account to debit to bank charges account to debit to bank account. The entry we record. Yes or no, students? One. Interest charged by bank. Interest charged by bank. Sometimes we get some overdraft facility from the bank. Means suppose I have some 1,000 rupees in my bank. How much amount can I withdraw from bank? 1,000 rupees. Suppose zero balance is the minimum balance, zero balance account. Suppose if I want to withdraw 10,000 rupees, is it possible? As an individual, it may be not possible, but for businesses, it may be possible. Business may request the bank to allow some overdrawn facility. To overdraw amount, we can request the bank. That is in the form of overdraft facility. Is it clear, students? Yes. In that case, the bank may charge some interest. Interest is expense for us. Yes. So interest account debit. Interest account debit. And who is paying this interest? Bank only paying this interest. That means the amount gets reduced in the bank account. This bank is only paying the amount. So interest is expense, nominal account. Interest is expense, nominal account. Bank real account. Bank real account. Sir, no, students. Now, nominal account rule. Debit all expenses and losses. Credit all incomes. Bank. Sorry. Bank personal account. No? Personal account. Personal account rule. Debit the receiver. Credit. Entry. Interest account debit. Interest account debit to bank account. Interest account debit to bank account. Yes or no, students? Next one. Interest allowed by bank. Sometimes we deposit our money na. On those deposits, sometimes bank will pay some nominal interest. That becomes income for us. Becomes income for us. So interest received amount. Because we have to make a difference between interest paid, interest received. That's why which account we are creating? Interest received. Interest received is nominal account. Nominal account rule, debit the expense, credit the income. Here interest received is income, so that his account interest account is credit. Next, who is the receiver of this interest? Bank is receiving interest. On one hand, bank is allowing. On the other hand, the amount is deposited into our account. No? On the other hand, the amount is deposited into our account. So bank account. Bank is the receiver. The amount is directly credited into bank account. Amount is directly credited into bank account. Yes or no, students? Now, bank is personal account. Personal account rule: debit the receiver, credit the giver. Entry: bank account to debit to interest received account to interest received account. Yes or no, students? Yes, sir. Next one: transfer of funds from one bank to another bank. Okay. For example, here SBI. You can write here. Transfer of funds from one bank. One bank is SBI, and another bank is HDFC. Write down HDFC. What is happened here? From SBI bank, the amount is transferred to which account? HDFC account. Who is the receiver? HDFC bank is the receiver. HDFC bank account. HDFC bank is the receiver of amount. Who is the giver of amount? SBI bank. Who is the giver of amount? SBI bank. Yes or no, students? Yes, sir. That's it. HDFC, SBI, both are personal accounts. Both are personal accounts. Rule: debit the receiver, credit the giver. Understood, students? Sometimes it happens like this. Both are personal accounts only. So amount is transferred from one bank to another bank. Finally, what is the entry we record? HDFC bank account debit. Amount you can write to SBI bank account. That's it. These are the maximum possible banking transactions. Apart from these transactions, we have also some more transaction, but here these transactions are enough. Remaining we discuss at the time of cash book. Remaining we discuss at the time of cash book. Is it clear, students? Observe carefully. Observe once again. Banking transactions. Very, very important. Now the same transactions, if you get in the transactions, means in the journal problem, you can directly write down the entry and amount is given in the problem, write down that amount. Now, is it clear? Hope you understood. Now come to, okay, you can do one thing. Just pause the video, go through the concept once again. Pause the video and go through the concept once again. Is it clear, students? Make it fast. Is it clear, students? I hope you understood this. Next, come to another important area of concept of journal, that is goods utilized for other than sale. Generally, business will purchase goods for sale purpose. Yes or no, students? Goods are purchased for sale purpose. Suppose I am doing a furniture business. I have purchased furniture goods. For what purpose generally we purchase goods? For sale purpose. Sometimes what happens is the goods are used for other than sale. Means we purchase goods, but sometimes we will not sell all the goods, and some of the goods are utilized for various purposes. Various purposes. And in that case, what is the entries we have to write? What are the entries we have to write? First, observe the purpose. First purpose: goods taken for personal use. Means proprietor has taken some goods. Let us say we are running a grocery store. So proprietor may take some grocery items to his home. Yes or no? In that case, what we can say? Goods taken for personal use. Goods taken for personal use. Next one. Goods given as charity. Sometimes we may give goods as charity. Suppose I have some clothing store. Now some clothes or some old stock I have given as charity. In that case, what is the entry I have to write? Next one, distribution of goods as free samples. In some businesses now, we need to distribute some goods as free samples. These are like advertisement expense. These are for what purpose? Advertisement. Next one, loss of goods by fire or theft or due to accident. Sometimes the goods may be kept in the godown. Some of the goods kept in the shop. Most of the goods kept in the godown. Yes or no, students? Because the total stock it is not possible to place in the store. That's why some stock we kept in the godown. Suppose due to any reason the stock was lost. Stock were lost. Maybe due to theft, fire accident, or any due to anything. Goods lost. That is a these goods are meant for sale, na, but due to theft, fire, goods lost. In that case, what is the entry we record? Next one, goods used to make an asset means see, I am running a timber depot. Do you know timber depot? Wood, timber depot. These people will deal with the raw wood. Wood. Okay. Now this wood, actually the wood I have purchased is for sale purpose. Plywood, whatever it may be. The wood I have purchased for sale purpose. But what I did, I have utilized this wood for manufacturing of furniture, which is used in the business. I have utilized this timber or wood or lags in the manufacture of furniture, and that furniture is used in the business. In that case, what we can say, the goods which meant for sale, we have utilized in making asset. That case, what is the entry we record? So these are the various situations of utilization of goods for other than sale. For other than sale, most of the goods we will sell. See, that is our business now. Purchase and sale of goods is our business, or providing services our business. Most of the goods are sold. Some of the goods may be used like this. In these cases, what is the entry we record? Simple. In all these cases, in all these cases, earlier at the time of purchase of goods, earlier at the time of purchase of goods, we debit purchase account now. Now, in all these cases, purchase account gets reduced. Purchase account balance gets reduced. Is it clear, students? Yes, because purchase account is expense, so that debited. Purchase account is expense, so that debited. Is it clear? Now we have used these goods for these purposes, so that now the expense cost gets reduced. Expense cost gets reduced. Do remember, students, this concept is very, very important. Now observe carefully. And first point, write down, in all the above cases, first note point, write down, in all the above cases, in all the above cases, purchase account is credited. Purchase account is credited. Second one, in all the above cases, amount is written at cost value. At cost value. This is very important. Sometimes in the problems they give you cost value of goods plus sale value of goods. Cost value of goods and sale value of goods. You observe, if we sell goods, suppose 100 rupees is the cost. 100 rupees is the cost. Plus, I am adding profit 20 rupees. I am adding profit 20 rupees. What is the total sale value? What is the total selling price? 120. Now, this selling price consists of what? Cost plus profit. If I sell these goods, I can generate some profit. Suppose instead of selling goods, I have utilized the same goods for these purposes. Means withdrawal purpose, charity purpose, free samples purpose, or goods theft, or goods used in making asset. In all these cases, if goods are utilized, then we don't generate any profit. We don't generate any profit, and notional profit we should not record in the books of accounts. Actual realized profit we can record, but notional profit we should not record in the books of accounts. That's why when there is no profit element, no selling price. But in the problem they give you 120 rupees selling price, 100 rupees cost price. At what price you record the entry? At 100 rupees. What price you record the entry? At 100 rupees only. In all the cases, we record the entry at cost value. Is it clear, students? Is very important. Now observe what is the entry we record. Now goods taken for personal use. Who is taking goods? Proprietor. So proprietor account is debit simply. In the place of proprietor account, which account we debit? Drawings account. So drawings account to debit to purchases account. Drawings account to debit to purchases account. Is it clear? Next one. Goods given as charity. Simple. Charity account to debit. Charity or donation. This becomes expense for us. Charity or donation. Account to debit to purchases account. In all these cases, purchase account balance gets reduces. Next, third one, distribution of goods as free samples. Free samples given only for what purpose? Advertisement purpose. So here, you may debit either free samples account or advertisement account. Free samples account or advertisement account. Advertisement access account. Wait, to purchases account. To purchase. Is it clear, students? Next one. Goods lost by fire. Simple. What is the entry we record? Goods lost by theft or fire. Account debit to purchases account. Is it clear, students? Goods lost by fire or theft account debit to purchases account. Here itself I am writing the entries. Now, in the problems, if you get the amount, just you write the amount. That's it. Next one. Goods used to make an asset. By utilizing these goods, we are creating one asset now. We are creating one asset. So asset account debit. Asset account debit to purchases account. Observe, students. Asset account debit to purchases account. This is the concept of goods utilized for other than sale. Hope you understood. Okay. Pause the video and try to recollect one by one. To remember, in all the above cases, purchase account gets credited, and in all the above cases, we record the entry at cost price or cost value. Is it clear, everybody? Yes. Now, once you get complete all these things, next we try to solve some problems based on traditional approach. Based on traditional approach. Is it clear, students? We meet again in the next video. Till then, bye bye, everybody. Don't forget to revise everything. Suppose today you have watched, today you have assumed today you have watched 2 hours of video, because if you observe, we are recording only 1 hour video which comes a duration of 1 hour. Okay, so for your simplicity also, okay, after watching this 1 hour video, try to read once again the concept, plus try to solve the problems. Take some 10 to 15 minutes break, again watch the second video. Now again, after watching the second video, just go through the concepts which we have learned in that video. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, make a cumulative revision. Cumulative revision means what? Whatever you have learned in the two videos now, so try to recollect them once again. Like this, try to learn each day. Is it clear, students? Yes. So we meet again in the next video.